There's only a couple days left before the Lions play Western Force in the first game of the Australian tour. Now, this is where things are going to start hotting up, not only in the country, but in rugby, because this is now going to start the true test of the Lions squad, right? They came off of a narrow loss to Argentina, 28-24. There's been a lot of talk about this. Obviously, England, the Lions were playing a subpar squad, whereas France, a lot of their players were seventh, eighth choice players, right? There was a lot of talent. There was a lot of quality on show as well. There was a lot of elite level talent, team players that play for the the first team of the French national squad. But there were a lot of frailties. There were a lot of Irish players. There were a lot of Lions players that were not available, specifically Irish players that were playing in the finals for Leinster. You had players like Finn Russell, who played in the finals for Bath, that were not available, right? So you consider a lot of these players, the positions that they play in, they are some of the best in the world in their specific positions, not being available, like your Finn Russell, who probably is the number one choice in the 10 role. You have Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, which are the number one starting spots for the loose head and tight head. You have players like Will Stewart, who in my opinion is a number one starter for the tight head, right? Yeah, loose head, tight head, and hooker. Sorry, Dan Sheehan hooker. But a lot of players were not ready. They were not available. They had just come off of big, heavy, competitive games. Andy Farrell there was no way he was going to be risking them. But the Western Force are still no joke. But I'm not about to come here and say that the Western Force is better than Argentina. They should not be overlooked. They should not be looked down on. But are they better than an Argentina side? No. Not in a million miles. Especially now that the Lions are going to have a majority of their players back up, ready, and just wanting to go. It's going to be pure fire, right? So you have players like your James Lowe, who's coming back. You have Gibson Park. I think he's still out with an injury. And then I believe Hugo Keenan as well. He's also out with an injury. But I do believe Hugh Jones is back training, fully fit. Whether he's match fit or not, I don't know. But I want to be seeing that Huey Palutu center partnership. I think everybody wanted to see that. The Aki Palutu had a bit of oomph, but it's nothing like that. Huey Palutu partnership, in my opinion, one of the best center pairings in world rugby. I don't care where you are, who you are, debate me on that. They just have that, as the new age kids say it, they got that vibe. They have that flow. They work so well in tandem with each other, and they work so well off of each other, right? Feeling the space, having that ability to break through players, constantly pushing for that gain line. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, Maro Toje, he's captain. We know he's going to be starting. I think we could potentially see like Maro, Ollie Chessum. That would be nice, but the Lions are pretty much spoiled for choice. In my opinion, they really are spoiled for choice. You look at the back row where you have your Tom Curry, you have Jack Morgan, which I love Jack Morgan. You have, Ben Earl. You have Van der Fleer now coming back as well. I'd love to see potentially Jack Conan starting at 8. I would love to see Jack Conan starting at 8. He's got quality, he's got the skill, he's got the experience, he's got the leadership. And then having, like, let's say, I wouldn't be opposed to having Morgan or Tom Curry at 6, Van der Fleer at 7, and then Jack Conan at 8. I wouldn't mind that. I actually wouldn't mind that. So let me know what your thoughts on who that back row is going to be, because like I say, they are stacked for choice, and it's going to be a real headache for Andy Farrell. We probably will end up seeing Mitchell. I think we could potentially see a Mitchell Russell pairing. Obviously, you do have Finn Smith, which I think he actually had a pretty good game. He actually played pretty well. But with the likes of Finn Russell coming back, I don't think he's above the pecking order of Russell. So Mitchell, Finn, possibility. I think we are more than likely going to be seeing Mitchell, Mitchell, or potentially I would like to see. I'm going to go Mitchell. We go Mitchell, Russell there, and then more than likely we are going to be seeing. I think we could even potentially see Tommy Freeman drop. No, yeah. So let's keep Low at 11, Tommy Freeman at 14. Van der Merwe is going to be on the bench. We have the Huey Palutu center partnership, and then who could we have um, at the 15? You know what? I honestly think we could potentially have another Marcus back again at 15. Um, Potentially Elliot Daly. I like how he can play along the back line. I don't think he's going to start, but definitely coming on in the second half. In my opinion, but yeah, I think there's so much quality. There's so much talent on show. It's really going to give Andy Farrell an absolute headache. But Western Force is still no joke. Right now, I'm not about to lie to you and say, look, I'm an expert when it comes to the Western Force. I've tried doing as much research as I possibly can on them, and I've tried watching a couple of games here and there, but I am shaky when it comes to them. Um, from what I've seen, players like Ben Donaldson, Brandon Panga Mosa, Colatizano. I really like Colatizano. He he's a monster. Co Tompkinson, really, I love him as well. But then, I mean, you have players like and my favorite Harry Potter. Like you can't go wrong with good old Harry Potter. He's actually legit. Harry Potter is actually legit. But honestly, from everything that I see, they very inconsistent when it comes down to the execution. They haven't really played big international sides. They haven't really had this kind of test, right, to really put these players to the test. And some of the aging stars like Beal might struggle to keep up with the intensity, but this is going to be interesting because we're going to have the halfback battle between potentially the Mitchell Russell Donaldson Pasitoa. You know, when you have like the pack, the rock battle. I mean, when you look at someone like Panga Mosa, he's a monster. But then again, so is Dan Sheehan. Dan Sheehan has it all. How can you knock that? So I don't know. I think what we're going to see is the Lions, as we saw with Argentina. Lions love to dominate possession. They love to dominate territory. I think we are going to be seeing a lot of Finn Russell's kicking ability, Marcus Smith's kicking ability. They have a lot of experience in that back line, so they are going to have to exploit it, use it to their advantage, using those up and unders because we know Tommy Freeman and James Lowe are brilliant in the air. So those up and unders are really going to be good, keeping that possession, keeping that territory, putting a lot of pressure on them with the rucks. They are very dominant when it comes down to their scrums and their lineouts. I mean, how can you not be when you have the monsters that they do have? But to really start bringing in that intensity early phase, using players like your Jack Conan, your Jack Morgan, Tom Curry to be fighting for the breakdown, fighting, forcing errors. I said the Lions had too much for Argentina in my last preview, and I was proven wrong. The Argentina ended up putting on a brilliant show, a brilliant defensive show. But at the same time, I don't want to count out Western Force. I cannot look at anything but a Lions win. I cannot look past a Lions win, considering the talent, considering the the players that they have. I just feel that they are going to have too much. I really feel that they are going to have too much. And that's taking consideration Gibson Park and Hugo Keenan, who are quite possibly the best players in their position globally. Yeah, I think it's just going to have too much. So, only a couple of days away. Let me know what your thoughts are in terms of this upcoming game. Please like and subscribe as always. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.